to me, the most detrimental thing that comes out of complex trauma. So when a child's neglected and abused, from their vantage point as a little child, they basically, it's an egocentric way of looking at the world. Everything is about me. Everything's because of me. Everything affects me. So I'm neglected and abused because it's my fault. I must be doing something wrong. I must be bad. And so they develop a core belief of shame, which is how we describe it. So shame has been really misunderstood in our culture to be kind of you should be ashamed of yourself. But that's really guilt. Shame is actually a core belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not valuable, I'm less than others, I'm bad, it's my fault. And so from that, a whole bunch of dynamics begin to happen. But a person like that goes into a relationship with all the wrong priorities, with all the wrong approaches, and that ends up in codependency. So to me, complex trauma leads to shame, but then when two shame people get together, you have a codependent relationship. And so it really, to me, comes out of people, if they don't deal with the shame piece, they never really deal with the codependency piece. And so it's understanding how complex trauma creates shame, which then sets you up for relationships to fail or to be built on an unhealthy foundation.
Can you talk about some of the examples or that you've seen over the years of how, because I think there's some obvious ones that people could jump to as far as like those big T trauma moments in childhood that would contribute to somebody developing that type of feeling about themselves when it comes to shame and everything like that. But what are some of those other subtler ways that maybe that can show up in childhood? And then how does it kind of morph and change as they grow so that when they finally do get into relationships in their later years?
Yep. So I would say, to me, to begin with, a child comes into the world with really two powerful drives. So the number one is to attach. So they're totally helpless little human beings that unless they attach securely to someone, their needs aren't going to be met. So the need to connect or attach becomes a powerful, powerful drive that never disappears. It's there all of life. But the second one is a child comes in with a commitment to be fully authentic. I'm me. I'm just going to be me. And so in a healthy home, when you're fully authentic, that leads to healthy attachment. It deepens healthy attachment. It leads to intimacy. But in a complex trauma home, if I'm authentic, I get criticized. If I'm authentic, I get punished. I get authentic, I get told, don't feel that way. Don't be that way. You're too sensitive. And so what the child begins to realize is authenticity doesn't result in attachment, it results in rejection. So their brain now has been actually programmed by a lie, because it should be attachment is a result of authenticity. But in their mind, authenticity never leads to attachment. It always leads to rejection. So what do they have to do? They adapt. I still need to attach because I need my needs met. So what now will I do? I will wear masks. I will be whatever you want me to be so that you will like me. So I'll be a chameleon. I will fawn. I will be a people pleaser. I'll never say no or set boundaries because I need you to accept me so that you meet my needs and attach to me. So all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of adaptations that seem to work, but try to do that in an adult relationship where you're wearing masks, it's not going to work. It's going to lead to frustration and breakdown. And then the other thing that comes out of that is I want true connection, but I'm afraid of true connection because true connection requires being vulnerable and being authentic. But if I'm vulnerable and authentic, they're going to see the real me, which is shame that I'm not good enough, that I'm not lovable. So I need to hide the real me and wear these masks. But how do I then get connection? Well, let's just have fun. Let's just have superficial, let's everybody do stuff together, find common interests, have sports kind of camaraderie, barroom camaraderie, but that's going to be my feelings of attachment. But it's really a superficial attachment or connection feeling that doesn't really satisfy. It's kind of like a drug. I just need another fix to try to make me feel like I'm connected or I belong. And then the child has to go, okay, if I'm going to connect, not only do I have to wear a mask, but I have to give up my needs and make their needs more important than my needs. So if I take care of dad and I never ask for anything, if I never put my needs out there or express displeasure, then maybe dad will like me. So all of a sudden now the child is learning that people will like me better if I don't have needs, if I make all the sacrifices. And what they're doing is setting up relationships based on shame, where if I stay inferior and let somebody else be superior, then the relationship will work. But it's really an adaptation based on shame and trauma, trying to get my needs met, trying to get love, trying to get acceptance. And what happens is the child basically then gets told that giving up your needs, making sacrifices, wow, you're being so loving. And often they get validated for it and they get lots of praise. Wow, you're such a good kid. And they think, wow, this is really getting my needs met. But they get to adult life and they realize there's an emptiness inside. They don't know who they are. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. They let people walk all over them. They go into every relationship. And basically what it is if I give, will you give back? So it's now I give to get. It's not genuine love. It's love with an agenda. And so that sets up almost, all love in relationships is conditional. I got to perform in order to get my needs met. My needs will never get met just for me being me. Well, that's a distortion too, but that comes out of all of that stuff. And then if there's something wrong, so if dad's upset and angry or mom's depressed, what did I do wrong? I must have done something wrong. I should be able to fix this. I should be able to take care of dad's needs. So now what the child begins to do is, the way for me to feel good about myself is I have to keep everybody else happy. So I got to take care of everybody else's emotions. So then what that means is I have to have a radar that's super attuned to everybody else's mood, emotional state, what they think. So I know what dad's mood is the moment he walks in the door. I know what mom's mood is the moment I get home from school, because my radar is attuned to their central nervous system. And I quickly pick up on all the cues that as to where they're at. But what happens with that is I now know their moods. I don't know my own. I know what they feel. I don't know what I feel. I know what they think. I don't know what I think. So I'm more attuned to them than I am to myself. I don't have a clue what I'm feeling on any given day. But then I have to go beyond that. Not only do I have to keep them happy and take care of their emotions, so now I feel responsible for their emotions. I have to be happy all the time. Because if I'm sad, that might make them sad. So now I have to only have one emotion. So I got to shut down all the other emotions of my life, because that would be a burden to them. That might make them unhappy. So what you see is happening is the child is actually becoming less and less human. They're giving up their needs. They're giving up their emotions. They're attuned to everybody else, but not to themselves. So they're almost this people-pleasing little robot that is desperately pleasing everybody else, trying to get their own needs met.
We were meant to be.